capacity for families with children, seniors, and individuals with disabilities. I want to speak to that need directly because we experience the consequences of this gap every night. Arbor operates a 10-bed emergency shelter for unaccompanied minors and an 11-bed shelter for young adults ages 18 to 24. A number we're increasing to 20 once we complete a sprinkler system installation. Because those are two separate programs and facilities, when a family comes to us that crosses those age groups, we may be able to shelter them, but we cannot always keep that family together under one roof. Think about what that means for a family already living through one of the hardest moments of their lives. They've lost their housing, they're trying to figure out where they'll sleep tonight, and the system may separate them simply because we don't have a facility built to keep the whole family together. That's why the family component of these recommendations matters so much to us. I also want to speak to a population that can get lost in a conversation centered on families, seniors, and disabled adults, youth. Arbor sees the continuum from unaccompanied minors into young adulthood, and homelessness doesn't begin at 25. Many of the youth we serve have experienced foster care, juvenile justice involvement, family instability, trauma, or simply have no safe adult to call. Intervening effectively at 16, 18, or 21 can prevent someone from becoming chronically homeless at 30, 40, or 50. I was glad to see the recommendations to invest in existing shelter where there's an opportunity to expand capacity or improve services. We don't have to choose between building something new and strengthening what already works. We need both, and with 21 beds growing to 30, Arbor is already doing that work. I also support the emphasis on diversion, case management, and pathways to permanent housing. A bed keeps someone safe tonight. Our job as a community is to help them reach a place where they no longer need that bed. Finally, this is not a city government issue alone, it's a community issue. Government, service providers, businesses, healthcare, philanthropy, faith communities, and people with lived experience all have a role. Lexington has a chance to build an even stronger homeless response system, one that keeps families together, gives you the path out of homelessness before it becomes chronic, and gives every population an appropriate place to turn. Arbor Youth Services is ready to keep being part of that work. Thank you for your time.
Homelessness response systems, including as an outreach worker and in permanent supportive housing. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today to share input on the draft recommendations put forth by the Mayor's Task Force on Homelessness. As a resident of District 11, I would like to voice my support for the continuation of temporary seasonal beds and the development of a permanent campus on Versailles Road, including both permanent shelter for families with children, older adults, and people with disabilities, as well as the creation of a 24/7 intake center for people experiencing homelessness. We know that older adults are a quickly growing subset of people who experience homelessness, and these targeted resources can both better support them while also increasing capacity in the overall system, ensuring that more people are able to access services and supports. In addition, a single point of entry center offers an opportunity to make it easier for people to be connected with available services they are eligible for, and will also strengthen our overall system of care. In my experience, siloed systems and programs can make it really difficult to find help in the moment when people most need it. So having a single location that is always open can reduce some of these barriers. Lastly, I really appreciate the task force's recognition that pet ownership can create barriers to accessing available services, and for beginning to explore options to support people who are experiencing homelessness with pets. From my own research, I've heard directly from people experiencing unsheltered homelessness that they would prefer to stay with their pets on the streets than give them up. For many, their pets are their family. As the committee continues to explore and enact these recommendations, I would also like to advocate for the creation of emergency, temporary, and permanent housing options that can accommodate pets. As the task force continues to refine these recommendations, I hope that they can be implemented in a way that can meet the individual needs and preferences of people who are experiencing homelessness and support their safety, autonomy, and dignity. I want to again thank the task force for these recommendations and for their work to support our neighbors. And given that the majority of people who enter or experience homelessness stay in their communities of origin and where their supports and families are, these recommendations will have a direct impact on our neighbors here in Lexington. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Abby Ladner, and after that it'll be Herbert Lynn.
My name is Abby Latimer. I'm also an assistant professor with the University of Kentucky, and I am in District 8. don't have anything prepared, but what I wanted to say has to do with the fact that I have been a clinical social worker for 15 years. I've worked in hospice and palliative care my entire career, and only lately has research become my predominant focus. I didn't naturally come into the work on homelessness. It happened by virtue of who I was seeing. In the hospital and at home, I saw patients who had serious illness, who were dying, who had nowhere to go. Even if they had shelter, sometimes it wasn't all that great. It was what they were getting by with, and it was what they were able to do for themselves, and so we saw them where they were and met them in person, but there was nowhere else that they could have gone. When I got into the work around homelessness and started to understand all the nuances and different things, I was actually caught off guard and quite surprised that people were against any of these issues. A couple of the things that came up tonight in terms of recommendations from the Mayor's Task Force, like the central service 24/7 and the expansion of medical respite beds, it doesn't seem to me like there would be a good rationale as to why we shouldn't have that. Being a social worker, having also worked at Eastern State Hospital, needing to discharge people to places. As Charlie said earlier, somebody says, where would you refer someone if they were homeless? The answer is hard because oftentimes it's nowhere. I did a research project recently where I interviewed older adults who were unhoused, and my goal was to get anybody 50 and up. Most of the people I got were 50 and up, but they were like 70 and up. And the reason was because there wasn't anybody that survived 50 to 60. They were either dead or they were surviving till they were old enough. And in those conversations, many of them were homeless for the very first time. They had not been chronically unhoused. They had no idea how to navigate the system. One gentleman that I talked to in the interview had to stop the interview to go get his stuff because he was worried somebody was going to steal it. And he talked about how he paired up with another younger gentleman who would keep him safe because he couldn't protect himself. He didn't have the same physical abilities that he used to have. So these older adult populations are certainly like a particular population that need our protection, need our support, need our help. And so when we say no to certain things, we are also saying no to those populations that truly need it. So in summary, I would just like to say that I support very much the 24/7 and in hopes that it will help all of our clinicians around the state have a place to send people to go, as well as expansion of those medical respite beds so that we can provide care to those who need it the most.
I did want to say one other thing. We are still taking sign-ups for public comment. If you wanted to sign up, didn't get a chance to, Jeff's over there, you can raise your hand or go over there to him and sign up. It's not too late.
Good evening. My name is Herbert Lynn. Although I'm a candidate for City Council, I'm here as a private citizen and resident of the 7th District this evening. And hearing these results tonight of the Mayor's Task Force on Homelessness, I am very encouraged with what I'm seeing. Because not only is this the right way for Lexington, it also honors Lexington's prior commitments to a housing-first solution to homelessness. The cheapest and fastest way to end homelessness is to give someone a place to live. And that is exactly what this proposal and these findings are working towards. And it's also important to remember, for those of you who might encounter detractors of these findings, it is important to remember that there is an incredibly tight correlation between gun violence and uncertainty in housing for young people. So not only will this help our working families find the path to a permanent home, it will also help reduce gun violence in the long term. And I have to remind everyone, this is not going to be easy. It's not going to be cheap, but everyone here in this room knows that it's something worth fighting for. And it's something worth talking to your friends and neighbors about. It is something worth calling your city council people and encouraging them to support and work towards. And we have to remember also, it's not just people suffering with mental health issues and addiction issues that make up our homeless population. As the previous speaker said, it is our homeless elders who are experiencing homelessness for the first time. It is working families who can't bear to be split up because they can't find a shelter that will accommodate our needs. It is domestic violence survivors looking for an escape route. So please remember that when we are talking about this program, we're not just talking about the people that are often described very unkindly. We are talking about the people who are most in need in our community. And I think that the mayor's homelessness task force has identified an amazing path forward for this. Thank you.
Next, we have Stephanie Spires, and then after that, it's Richard Malone.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Spires. I'm also a council candidate, but I am here as a private citizen in the 5th District where Liz Sheehan has worked so hard on this issue. And I want to just say, first of all, I am in support of keeping the temporary shelter and then moving forward with building a permanent structure. But I am so thankful to see all of you here tonight. We have shelters here. We have the nonprofit community. We have the faith community. 10 years ago, when I started serving on the school board, I went to the district and said, and they tried to tell me they had less than 20 homeless youth in the district. And I said, that can't be because Arbor Youth Services had over 500 youth spend the night in the shelter last year. Just 10 years ago, we didn't have all these people in the room. And we didn't have people who recognized that this was an issue. And here we are now, and we've got Fayette County here, and we have accurate numbers. They've counted the students they have. We have the point in time counts that many of us volunteer on, and we have the data. We know where the needs are. We know about the kids who are 18, but they're still in high school. So where do they go after school? Because they can't be in the unaccompanied minor shelter. And if the teen shelter or the young adult shelter doesn't open to the evening, where does the bus drop them off in the day? And we know about the elderly population. We understand the pets, the mental health issues. We have the data and we have the knowledge, and I just want to thank everybody in this room who has worked so hard to get us here over the last few years, whether you were interviewed as part of the study, whether you served on the task force, or whether you were just here as a private citizen. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Richard Maloney. I live in the 11th District. What I bring to you all is experience, as we were talking about funding. I had the opportunity to work for Kentucky Housing Corporation. There was a program called Home Money. I wrote that program, I helped wrote that program. And then the tax credit, compliance monitoring, I wrote that program. What I got to do, go all over the state and learn how the programs work. And it's amazing what you see. You heard these people up here, how people are affected by these shelters and things. I came back to Lexington and I helped build 5 shelters here in Lexington. 4 of them in the 11th District around this corner where we're talking about. I built, it used to be the Virginia Place, now it's First Shores. I helped build the Hope Center for Women and the Crystal's House. That model is all over the country. It's all over. Every city in the Louisville, everywhere is using that model. Then I ended up helping with the Shepherd's House. Then I went back downtown and helped in the 1st District and finished up with Hope Center for Men with that campus. So what I'm bringing you all is experience in how to work with 4 rules that I found from all over the state. First rule, you gotta have community driven. Community driven, remember what I just said. Second, you gotta have neighborhood support. Third, you gotta have the funding. I found the funding at the home money and at the tax credits. And fourth, you gotta make sure these people are safe in those apartments or where the unit they're in, and it helps the neighborhood. Why was able to build those 4 units under those 5 units under those rules? Now let's go to this piece of property we're looking at right now. I'm Peggy Henson sat there last year. We told you this. We felt this was not a state fair for the people. Let's talk about the 4 rules. First of all, is this a community-driven program? No, it's a city-driven program. This is the first time I've ever heard this. You gotta have a community-driven program to make it work. Secondly, is it safe? Is the neighborhood supported? Neighbor do nothing about it. I found out 2 weeks before when they built the temporary housing that was driven by the city. And it paralyzed that neighborhood. And finally, the money. If we don't get nothing here, it's not gonna work. I think you got a chance to bring in one part of the component, and that's the elderly shelter. You might have a shot at that. The other one will not work. You can't mix those two on the same property, because it would be scattered and they'd be all over the neighborhoods, and we don't need that. And when I go back with Peggy and I talked about, we had a person get killed, and I told everybody it was gonna get killed. And if we bring this other shelter, the second one, it's gonna be the same problem we have with the shelter y'all have now. So I ask you all, the 11th district is tired. We love what we have, and we need to move this, let everybody have the fair share. And we've got great people in this community. Remember, it's gotta be community driven, not city driven. This program is city driven, and that's gone.
Thank you. Next, we have Patrick McFadden. And then after that, it's Amanda Bryant.
I'm Patrick McFadden, I live in the 11th District, I live right on Versailles Road. I think there's a need for this shelter, but I don't think that location is the right place. I think we need to look deeper into a place to put this. Versailles Road is a dangerous road as it is. Dry ground, I've had a car flip over my driveway, and I've had a car land in my front yard. And I live down in the bowl. Some of you know where I live, Chuck knows where I live, there's signs in the yard every year. For cars to end up in that area, it's just dangerous. So now you're gonna put people possibly on foot, families, kids, seniors. You're gonna put them on foot, you're gonna be walking down these sidewalks on dry ground, and the traffic now is bad. We just built a school up there at Mason Healy. That's gonna increase the traffic out there on Versailles Road. So now you're gonna add more cars to the mix. It's getting more dangerous. I don't wanna see these folks get hurt trying to get to the shelter. This is really not the right place, but it's the right thought. The thought there, let's do this, let's do it, let's not do it there. The other thing is now we're gonna fast forward to winter. On Versailles Road, when it snows, and the snowplows come down the street, they pile all the snow right up against the curb. Well, they go curb to curb, so where does that put the snow? On the sidewalks. So everybody has to walk in the road. All the foot traffic on Versailles Road is in the road with the cars. Once again, you're gonna put seniors out there, you're gonna put children out there, you're gonna put families out there, you're gonna put pets out there. It's not safe. More people are gonna be killed out there because of this location. So we have to look at this stuff. We have to look at these things. We can't look at the big picture, we gotta draw in tight and look at the tight stuff. Safety of these people. We have to keep them safe. That's what you're trying to do by building a shelter, to keep them out of the environment. But that's not the place for it. We have to look at this. The sidewalks are not usable, like say in the winter. The Hope Center for Women, those young ladies have to walk in the street to get to the bus stops, to get to their programs, to get their help that they need when they leave their home. You can't do it there. Now you're just gonna increase this issue. The money is gonna be very expensive. I think I heard you're gonna move the existing facilities that are there. So your recycling center for electronics is gonna move. Your Herbie cart storage is gonna move. Your environmental services storage is gonna move. So that's gonna cost money. Now you're gonna buy more property or build more buildings to put all that stuff in. So now you're gonna spend a lot of money that you're not even looking at right now. So that's gotta be taken into account. So do me a favor, go back and look at this location and think about what I said, and let's find a better location. And it doesn't have to be in the 11th district. It can be in another district.
Yes.
We've got a lot in the 11th district.
Yes, we do.
Let's go to the 2nd district. Let's go to the 8th district. Let's go to the 7th district. Let's go to the 12th district. Let's go somewhere else and look and see if we can find some good, safe land to put these guys in without a lot of traffic on one of our main corridors coming from the airport to downtown Lexington, that we want everybody to see how beautiful Lexington is. So let's look at some other sites, please.
Thank you. I guess we'll let the
I believe
district.
Amanda has already left. Next is Bethany, I hope I'm saying that right, Bethany Morton. Okay, Dara Lisa Bryant. And after Dara Lisa, we have Marty Jones after.
I'm good. It's good. Oh, hey, hello. I'm sorry, it's okay. Hi, my name is Darlisa. I'm with Jubilee Jobs of Lexington, and I want to thank the city and Mayor Gordon for all their support they've given us over the years. And I read through these recommendations, and I'm all for it. I really don't have anything negative to say, but what I do want to say is, you all did touch a little bit on the job training. And as far as, I've been with Jubilee Jobs for 14 years, so I've worked with the homeless on every level. And the problem that we're having as far as the economic development part, I don't know about you guys, but I've always been told if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, but if you teach a man a fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. So I'm thinking, as far as Jubilee Jobs is concerned, is getting these homeless people jobs. And that's something we can do. Okay, that's something we have done. But they can always get the job, but they can't ever keep it because they don't have stable homes. And so therefore, they don't have anywhere to sleep when they leave their job. They have nowhere to eat, take a shower, do their laundry, because all these things are offered during the times that they should have to be on their jobs. So having this ability housing 24/7, I'm all for it. And I think that as far as the homeless is concerned, I think it would be an amazing opportunity for them to be able to get in a job and stay on the job so they can afford housing and they can afford to get out and not have to be homeless anymore. So if we get them jobs, then they won't have to be in the 24/7 shelter, in my opinion. And so I just wanted, and another thing I was concerned about is, I hear you all talking about, you know, the job training and stuff like this, but once they're in the shelter and they do have a job, is there gonna be a time limit on this, on their stay? Are they gonna be able to stay until they are able to afford housing, or is there gonna be a time limit? So that's something that may be considered in the future, but I would kinda like to know what that is, so that we can know kind of what we're looking at once they do have jobs, okay? Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Marty Jones, and I'm the Director of Housing Stability and Community Action Council. First, I want to thank the task force for the work that's gone into these recommendations. We support the recommendations. I want to offer some of our experience as context as the city considers what comes next. Community Action Council has worked with the city and other housing and homeless providers for many years. Since 2014, we've operated emergency family housing, which is part of the city's shelter network. They just use this scattered site apartments for short-term shelter. During the pandemic, we also operated a non-congregate winter shelter, and over the past 3 winters, in conjunction with LFUCG, through the Office of Homelessness Intervention and Prevention, we've expanded our family shelter capacity through the use of hotel rooms. What we have seen is that the number of families served through that winter expansion has more than doubled since we first started. This past winter, we provided hotel rooms for over 50 families experiencing homelessness, including 133 children. As the task force identified through its rankings of their recommendations, the biggest issue is that there simply aren't enough shelter options. On a regular basis, we have contact with other shelter and service providers like the Salvation Army, Catholic Action, Greenhouse 17, Street Outreach, Office of Homelessness Prevention and Intervention, and Fayette County Public Schools about identifying a shelter option for a family experiencing homelessness. This often involves multiple streams of calls and texts, resulting in piecemeal and short-term solutions from various resources cobbled together in hopes of buying enough time to keep a family off the street or from sleeping in their car long enough for a more sustainable shelter option to materialize. This puts additional strain on an already overloaded system, from the amount of time spent just finding an option to the multiple changes Fayette County Public Schools must make to the bus routes to transport the children to school. But even when beds are available, they may not work for everyone. People with mobility or health needs, multi-generational families, or couples who want to stay together can have very few options. Seasonal shelter helps, especially during the winter, but it's temporary, and because it's temporary, it can also be difficult to provide a consistent staffing and case management. That matters because we all believe that shelter should be more than a place to sleep. It should be a place that assists in permanent housing. We see that in our program, 72% of households who left our emergency family housing program retain permanent housing, and 43% of transitional housing pilots do the same. Both have dedicated staff providing case management and housing support. By comparison, only 15% of those served through the winter shelter committee action operated during the pandemic obtained housing. So from our experience, while shelter capacity is critical, capacity alone isn't enough. We also need the supports around it with the task force included in other recommendations: centralized intake, case management, diversion resources, accessibility, and adequate funding. Community Action Council supports the task force work, and we ask the city to give them all the consideration they deserve. As that happens, we hope Hope the focus is on how those recommendations can work together to raise the overall level of support for people experiencing homelessness in Lexington and make a stronger path for permanent housing. Thank you.
Next, we have Erica Dominguez, and then Judy Ashmore.
Hello, my name is Erica Dominguez. I've worked at the Lexington Rescue Mission for the past 10 years. I am in Council District 2. Y'all have compassion on me because I'm a little nervous. When I was thinking about what to share, I realized I have so many memories of the beautiful people I've met in the past 10 years. And I'm going to share a quick story of when I was a student. One time, I was walking to my car after Thanksgiving dinner at the Lexington Rescue Mission. And I was 3/4 of the way through an intersection and a car hit me as I was crossing. It was one of our guests, a homeless person, who helped me up. He took me to the side. He found my shoe that fell off my foot and gave me a kiss on the forehead as he waited with me until the paramedics came. This is just one story of one person. A real person, and our guests who are homeless are beautiful and complicated people. They are someone's son, daughter, mother, father, and unfortunately right now we see more and more someone's grandmother or grandfather. People who have been working their whole life become homeless for the first time at an alarming rate right now. The U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness states that 20% of homeless are over the age of 55. Many entering homeless for the first time, they are more likely to stay homeless longer, with 46% living unsheltered and on the streets. As a city, I hope we will rise up and take care of this beautiful population. These older adults who are entering into homelessness for the first time, that their age brings wisdom, and we want to respect and support them in their old age. They are worthy because they are a person of safe and stable shelter. So I hope we move forward on the city's plan for senior housing and family shelter and essential triage. Thank you.
What do you think? You're good. Glad you're here. So anyway, I am a private citizen. I have no expertise whatsoever. I've lived in Lexington for 18 months. I live on Maple Leaf, near the corner of Man of War. So if any of you here represent that area, I want to see you. On that corner, I watched this young person. She's in her 30s, I would guess. When I first saw her, she was strong. And you wanted to say, why is she on the corner? But I saw her be on that corner every day from morning until evening. And I saw her there every day through 2 ice storms. She was there. And I'm going, what is the motivation? How desperate is this person that she would be there? And I've seen her through this hot summer every day. And when this young woman who was standing strong when I first met her, now she is down on the pavement and she is under an umbrella. And the deterioration in this person, you can see her health has changed. And as I drive through just the local area, I see lots of other people on corners, and I'm just kind of desperate. I'm saying, what are we supposed to do? I don't see phone numbers anywhere. I don't see people's names, who to call, where to go, what to do. And my husband says, you can't bring them home. So I am hoping the people here are going to do the things that we can do. And what I heard at church last Sunday, what I heard at church last Sunday is it's with the community that people can get together and they can sometimes do more working together as a community than can be done through working through government. And I know we need both, and I'm hoping that I'll hear from government people today on what can I do when I'm driving around, what can I do? And for our little communities, what can we do? So thank you for the task force and everyone here, but I hope for more.
Next, we have Brittany Berger, and then Cynthia Buckner.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Berger. I did not plan to speak today, so this is going to be very informal. I watched the recommendations on the screen, and I think that they are wonderful. The thing that I want to speak on specifically is the wraparound services, including the case management. I am working to get a nonprofit off the ground. It's not going to be in the next couple months. We're still in the early development phases, but that nonprofit is going to provide services for the homeless and for the rest of our community. But they're going to do the wraparound services, including the case management. They're going to do the care coordination. We are going to do it in a way that is different from what's previously been done. Somebody's going to come in there and they're going to have their hand held, not just get a phone number or a website to an application, but we're going to walk through it with them. We're going to help them build resumes. We're going to help them apply for jobs. We're going to help them apply for assistance and show them how to do that themselves, so later on they know how to do that if they need that resource again. But what we're also going to do is, that's not going to be it for us. Say we get somebody services and it's set up 3 months from now, we're still going to follow up with them. We're going to call them and say, hey, how is everything? Do you need anything right now? How is your job going? And just make sure that they didn't fall through the cracks, that something didn't happen and they just felt embarrassed and didn't want to come back. We're also going to do workshops, financial literacy, coping skills, the how to build resumes, things that people in the community need. And we're going to help them find jobs, help with food. We plan to have a donation center where we can provide services as well if someone is in need for something. So I just wanted to put that on your all's radar because it is something that's coming. It's just in the process of getting there right now. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Cynthia Buckner and I'm the founder of Little Red Blessing Food Box here in Lexington. I'm with 11th District. 11th District, we are in a war zone. On Davenport Drive, I call it Drive-By Davenport. All you have to do is drive up and you can get whatever you need to be served. Today I spent 3 hours with my personal blower and blowing dust and cigarette butts. I said, why is there so many of these pen things that you write with, but they pull that out. They pull that out and they use it for like a crack pipe. There were so many of those today. I was like, wow. I knew I was right when I called it Drive-By Davenport. And 11th District, we are tired of getting all of that. I know people want it in our district, but we do not need it. Just like I said at the last meeting, would you want this in your neighborhood? I asked the mayor, would you want it in your neighborhood? We have Ms. Young. I asked other council members, would they want it in their neighborhood? Ms. Young, she screams for 12 hours. She takes over the bus stop. So when it's raining, no one can sit in there. 11th District is tired. I have a learning disability. If I could spell tired, I would spell it. But we are tired. We don't need any other place there. I know people want it there, but we need to get them out of the war zone so they don't want to come back and use. So with Little Red Blessing Food Box, we love everyone. We love the unhoused, we love the housed, we love the drug dealers, we love the drug users. I love all of them. Today, they even came and helped me. They seen I was just struggling with all this dust and stuff, and I'm gonna share it with my council person so she can see. We are tired. I just wanna say tired again. I'm constantly calling the non-emergency number. We need help. We need help, and we are tired.
Next, we have Peggy Henson, and then Parker Downs.
Good to see everyone here, and I'm really afraid that I don't disagree with anyone that spoke. I know the services are needed. We see it just coming here, you know, the panhandlers on the corner, and I know they're not all homeless or unhoused or however we want to say it, but they, the person I saw tonight, I believe probably is very unclean, unkept. And you know, my heart goes out to everybody. So I don't want anyone to be homeless. I don't want anyone to have a disability, you know, or, you know, I want to help those that we can. But I agree with the folks about For Sales Road corridor. I have lived on that corridor my entire life, and we love our neighbors that we have. Richard mentioned the several shelters that exist, and I remember being very, very excited when they came about because I knew of the need, and I worked with Employment Solutions for many, many years, and I worked to help people, give them a hand up, not a hand out, and get them working. So, you know, I just think, you know, we have our share. We don't want any more. And I even remember telling the pastor at the church, the way I feel, you know, it's not that I know that the services are needed, but I didn't want to be struck down by God because I was speaking out about the location. That's the only thing, is I just think that the one man, I think it might have been you that mentioned about the sidewalks and the snow plows and not being able to walk along For Sales Road. So I was the 11th District Council member for 11 years. And I know Richard and I, and then Jennifer after me, we have all fought to bring economic development to this corridor and, you know, to improve it. The infrastructure's lacking. There's so many things that it could use, but a homeless shelter, another homeless shelter, I say no. Thank you.
We don't.
Good evening. My name is Parker Downs. I work for VOA Honor, that's Volunteers of America Honor Program, and I'm here to advocate tonight on behalf of our homeless veterans. So I'm a housing navigator, outreach worker, and a couple other things for VOA Honor. I'm in the streets, literally with the homeless every day. And if you want to see what homelessness looks like, come do a ride along with me. It's raw, and it's real, and it's here. In fiscal year 19, Lexington ended veterans homelessness. We had every vet housed, and I think we could do that again. And so I think we're on the right track with this shelter idea. I know if we're gonna do specialized populations, I'd love to see veterans added to that list. It doesn't have to be a lot of beds, 25 to 50 is my suggestion on that. And I mean, we have the Hope Center over there. They do a good job housing vets. But we need more. We need more for vets. And I'll tell you one thing, I'm a Marine veteran, I'm a disabled veteran, and I'm looking through the eyes of a veteran. If you're able to get these veterans into a place where they can congregate and talk to each other, they're gonna help each other out, right? You know, a veteran doesn't let their fellow man or woman drop the rifle and just keep on going. You pick it up and you pick them up and you bring them along with you. And so I'd like to see the city do that for just any homeless veteran. I think it could be a huge change, and if you need any more suggestions that take longer than 3 minutes, but come find me, I got it. I got my business cards ready. So that's my suggestion on that. I'd love to see something for our veteran population. Let's make it happen, and let's end veterans homelessness again in Lexington.
We have one more person signed up, that's Barbara Helton? Hatton. And I'm not sure if there's anybody else that maybe came in late that would still like to speak. If so, raise your hand and Jeff will come to you. If not, Barbara might be our last comment.
My name is Barbara Hatton. I live in the 6th District. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight. I was just coming to listen. I've attended the Homeowners Association meeting, and I've given my input there on how I feel about this. I'm in favor of it. I agree that it's needed. I'm excited that some of the things that we suggested at the homeowners meeting and the neighborhood association meeting that we attended back several months ago, they have put in with their suggestions, so I appreciate that. But I'm here to agree with the people that spoke from the 11th district. I'm in the 6th district. We are in northeast Lexington, and we
Are tired.
tired.
Yeah.
I don't have a warm, fuzzy story to tell you about a homeless person who has helped me, or I have some stories to tell, but I won't do it in this group. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. My property backs up to a small creek in Eastland Parkway neighborhood. They use that creek for a bathroom. They use that creek to take a shower, not a shower, but a bath. And then I watch little kids come down there and take their shoes off and get in that creek and play. We clean up probably monthly, numerous grocery carts filled with, not things that they can use, a mop bucket and a mop. Well, I don't understand why they need that. But anyway, all that kind of stuff is on our shoulders to clean up and pick up. Plus the empty vodka bottles, those little shot bottles, and the needles. We've had enough on the northeast side. I'm in favor of this, but Lexington's big. Let's look for a better location. Thank you.
We did have another person sign up, and that's Amber Cronin.
Hello, I work for the Hope Center for Men. I've worked there a long time. And before I worked with homeless men, I worked with homeless teenagers when Arbor Youth was Smash Drop-In. And before that, I worked with homeless babies when that was here for about a year, a while back. I wasn't planning on speaking at all, but I'm hearing, not in my my backyard, and I understand that. I live in a place, I don't live in a polished neighborhood, I live downtown, and I too clean up liquor bottles and pipes, but they're from the college kids. And I defy you to say that the homeless do more damage than the college kids. We do need another shelter. We've needed it for a long time. We don't have time to wait. We don't have time to discuss this a lot. We think we have a shelter for women. Maybe I should be speaking as a private citizen right now, not the Hope Center, but I gotta tell you how many people I counsel, how many women call that are homeless, and the Salvation Army is full. They don't have overflow like we do for the men. So the Salvation Army is full almost all the time, it seems like to me. So add women to the list. We might have the shelter, but they often don't have a place to stay. And I think it's a wonderful thing if we can get the older men and if we can get some medical respite. Those people on Versailles Road, the people that aren't gonna act out like the mentally ill and the active substance users, I'd be happy to keep just those rowdy people at the Hope Center for Men. If we can get those other people to a safe place, you have no idea how badly the medical respite's needed. I could tell you stories, I don't have time. Every day, there are men that need oxygen. Today, there was a man on oxygen. We can't have oxygen tanks in our shelter, who had somebody come pick up his oxygen tank so that he could stay in the shelter. How sad is that? I mean, we don't have enough plugs for all the men that need CPAP machines, that need medical things, that need to be hooked up. Of course, the families that are split up because we don't have the shelters for them. The pets, yes, that is heartbreaking to me. And a man came in, we took a man in yesterday, he came in today and asked me, he has a little dog. It was clearly not a service dog, but I let him say it was. And he's staying at the shelter with his dog right now. He asked me if I knew somebody that could foster it. I would, but I would lose my license, and I've done it before I had a license and got in trouble. But when I retire, I'm gonna get a shelter for pets and for people that need them. But all these, RVing over our backyard is nuts. Would I live there? Yes, I would. I would have them in my backyard. I pretty much do have that sort of thing in my backyard. I live on an alley downtown, not in a good part. And we need it now, sooner than later, for all of these groups. And it's frustrating to me that we're arguing about places. Maybe that's not the place, but yes, they've been looking for the right place for a really long time. There's not anywhere else.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'm
Winchester
sorry.
Road.
My time
Oh, yes, there is another place.
Oh, yes, it is.
Last call for public comment. If not, then Commissioner Langer will come up and say some closing remarks.
Thanks everybody for coming. You are here because you care. Whether you stand on this side or that side or what your position is, you care, and we appreciate that. Those of us that do this work, it's really hard. You can't even imagine how hard it is to you've done it for a while. So when people show they care, we really, really appreciate it. There are lots of folks here to talk to. I think I had the task force members raise their hands. Y'all want to do that one more time real quick? If you didn't get a chance to say something, you want to talk to the task force member, those folks are here in the room. City council members and candidates around, I think, that identify themselves, so please have those conversations as well. And we will make sure that we publicize any changes and results from this. Again, thank you so much for coming on such a difficult night. I know the weather wasn't really great, and I really, really appreciate y'all taking this time.